talking about? You play to win the game. You don't play to just play it. Come after me! I'm a man! I'm for you! Can't wait! Let's go!
What's poppin', y'all? Welcome to another episode of Sideline, the Sideline. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, and directly above me, I got the Prince of Production for Sports Empire Network, Kyle Edwards. Kyle, how you feeling tonight? Kyle, can you hear me? Oh, Kyle's gone already. We're already losing people. He's back. He's gone. I don't know what's going on. Brett guard at 2. No. I got Brett guard at 3. How you doing, Brett? How you feeling tonight?
Oh, after watching Jordan Love play Sunday, I'm feeling phenomenal.
Why would you not at that point, right? He played awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, are you back? Are you here?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. EA
Okay.
Sports, you're in the game.
Whew. That's good. No, I'm good. It's just the audio cut out there for a second there. But yeah, I'm good. You know, it's another week 2 already, which means the season's kind of moving too fast for me.
Well, that's okay because Brett's team's 1-0 and my team's 1-0. How's your team doing?
Hey, our look, the Patriots
messing
were
with you.
encouraging. I like the defense. Mac Jones had some good throws, so I'm feeling good about them. I mean, the Dolphins are going to be tough this week, but I like where we're at.
I think that you guys are a lot better than what people are giving you credit for.
Absolutely.
I said that already.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that the Eagles are getting a lot more slack than they deserve. I think that the Patriots had a very good game plan. I thought the offensive game plan was perfect. Attack the middle of the field.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive game plan was great. It was control and bottle. Jalen Hurts, make him throw to the outside. Dallas Goedert had no receptions. And your defensive line won versus the best offensive line in football. So got to give credit where credit's due. I know I took an initial shot at you, but I promise.
It's all good.
It was a joke.
It's all good.
I was a little nervous. I didn't want to get beat up.
I'll say, yeah, the Patriots they fought to the very end. So yeah, no major props to them for their performance.
Speaking about major performances, one of the biggest disappointments of the week for me was the Chicago Bears. I just made a reel and a TikTok about this, and I'm going to go to Brett because Brett, Green Bay Packers were the recipient of that. But let me I want to ask the question, do you think that the Bears' performance was the Bears going to Bears, or do you think the Packers defense did that to them? Do you think Jordan Love and that Packers offense did that to them?
I think that's just the Bears being the Bears. Listen, I think when you're looking at Justin Fields, I think he's a phenomenal deep ball thrower, and he's phenomenal with his legs. So naturally, what do the Bears draw up? All right, we're going to run a screen. Then we're going to run a screen to the other side. Hey, guess what we're going to run after that? We're probably going to run a third screen. By the time we finish this conversation, they probably drew up 17 new screens to run for next Sunday. I just think that we're looking at a coaching staff that's just not using Justin Fields to its full potential. And they didn't involve DJ Moore very much in the game plan. We're just looking at a situation where the Bears didn't use any of their players for success. Look at the defense. You have a young quarterback that doesn't have a deep threat. Let's be real. And what do? Hey, we're going to throw the most conservative game plan out there. To me, that would have been a green light. Let's put the pressure on Love. Make him make the quick read. See if he can get the ball out quick. Let's trust our secondary. But to me, the fact that they ran a conservative game plan and then didn't let Justin Fields air it out, which, by the way, on his 2 throws for over 20 yards, he completed both of them. To me, this was just a failure from the coaching staff. I'm not saying the players are blameless, looking at you, Chase Claypool. But to me, this is just a situation where the coaching staff failed the Bears through and through.
And I completely agree with you. Let me just take it a step further. I have a lot of words to say towards Chase Claypool today. Chase Claypool is an absolute fraud of a person, of a football player. I can't believe the way he quit on his football team. When the announcers are calling it out mid-game that he just miss that block? What is he doing? Like, what is going on right now? Like, well, what's happening? Did he miss his blocking assignment? The routes he was running, he was just jogging through. It looked like a Saturday walkthrough in practice. Chase Claypool quit on his football team in week 1. He's already been deactivated from the Bears active roster he won't be playing Sunday. That's been made official. It's an absolute joke what this man did. Former second-round pick out of Notre Dame. What's the lasting image you remember of Chase Claypool in Pittsburgh? What's the image that you remember in your head? I remember him celebrating a first down on a big catch in a 2-minute drill with the rest of his offense screaming at him.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. And I'll take it a step further. You look at him last year, he was gone. He was nowhere to be found. Okay, bad team. Looks like they're trying to lose. Not all together. Okay. You have a whole offseason. You bring in DJ Moore. And what happens? He quits on his football team week 1. Week 1. This is the thing I have to say to Bears Nation. Bear down. This is what I have to say to them. This game should have been the game that you got up for, more than any game in the world. For years upon years upon years, Aaron Rodgers walked into your stadium saying, I own you. I own you. You're nothing. I own you. This is the first love boat scenario with Jordan Love, no number 1 wide receiver, on your home field. What? What happened? That's an absolute embarrassment to the Chicago fans and their fan base. I blame it on the McCaskey family. It goes all the way to the top. The culture starts with the ownership. The ownership is terrible there. The general manager is terrible for letting Jalen Carter get past them. It's a joke. I'm super happy that they did, but I'm not a Bears fan, but if I was a Bears fan, I would be livid. I'd be throwing stuff on the field. I wouldn't be able to go to that football game. Kyle, what are your thoughts on the Chicago Bears?
No, I definitely agree with you. It's a situation where after last season, there was a lot of, questions and rumors about this team. Remember, the whole talk of the offseason was, should they get rid of Fields? Is he the right guy? And I guess they committed to him because he's the starting quarterback, but it's just like, so if you're going to kind of set your future on him, then put a team around him that's going to work for him. I mean, it was just 1 week, so maybe, this coming week they look a little better. But, I mean, the Claypool stuff, look, Claypool is, if I were the Bears, that's the last time we talk about him or we see him in a Bears uniform. That's probably the way that's going to go. And he can't blame anybody but himself. So if anybody's going to try to sit out there and be like, oh, they're treating him wrong, no. He did Chicago dirty by quitting. So if you want to go through with DJ Moore and Mooney, fine. Maybe it's a addition by subtraction. Maybe Claypool was just the center of a lot of issues within that team. And the fact that he's gone, maybe they can actually play better. I do think some of it is also Fields. I think from what I saw from the game, it's like Fields still holds onto the ball a little bit too much for me. And I do think that's something that they can definitely coach out of him. But who knows? Maybe some of that was tied into Claypool not running routes, not whatever his assignment was on certain plays. Maybe he just was freelancing out there, and that forced Fields to hold the ball. I mean, look, I was one of those who picked the Bears to possibly make the playoffs this year. I'm not going to fully give up on that, but it's not really a great way to start out.
Definitely not. And when we talk about disappointments, let's talk about another disappointment for week 1. How about the New York Giants? To get embarrassed like that on national television in your own listen, you're home versus a division rival and you get beat 40-0. 40-0. The New York Giants were absolutely pathetic. Brian Daboll did not have this team ready to play. Daniel Jones just got paid $40 million and got beat by 40 points. The New York Giants were terrible.
I think the biggest disappointment with me with the New York Giants was that offensive line. You're looking at a situation where, listen, I get it, the Cowboys' defensive line is better, but they just look like that. They didn't even try. They look like that on live TV. They're like, oh boy, the boss is looking now. We've got to act like we're doing something out there. The effort was pathetic, and they just got completely embarrassed. I'm not absolving Daniel Jones, but at the same time, I can see a bulk of his struggles just being that line who's just getting blown up all night and so quick that this dude's having less than 2 seconds to get the ball out all night. So I'm not going to absolve Daniel Jones, but I think a big reason for that, I think the biggest disappointment, if I had to pick one on the Giants, is just the performance of that offensive line.
I mean, Dallas had their way with them. We're talking about it because we want to piss you off, Freddie. That's why we're talking about it. Kyle, what's your thoughts on the New York Football Giants?
For the first Sunday night matchup of the season, it was a complete dud. I mean, the offensive line. Look, the Cowboys' defense will probably do that to a few teams this year. They are pretty good defensively, but it's just weird. A division game like that, and to not show up is definitely troubling, because that should be the game that they get up for the most, especially the Cowboys. Cowboys and Giants. That's like real hatred there, and to just lay down the way that they did, it definitely makes you question like how good are the Giants really going to be this year. And they've committed to Daniel Jones, however, whether you agree with that or not. But I was definitely expecting another jump from him because of what Daboll did with him last season. So once again, it is only week one, but I mean, we had the whole Saquon Barkley stuff. He didn't really have that big of an impact either. The wide receiver group looks like it's still going to be an issue. They brought Waller. I know Giants fans are high on Waller.
Already has a hamstring injury.
And it's just like
already.
I mean, the state of New York football right now. I mean, between Giants and Jets fans, it's kind of miserable right now.
Jets got to win. The Jets have a lot more to look forward to this year than the New York Giants.
That's true.
Because we got to preview a bunch of games this week, and because we're all about previewing the NFL week, I'm going to only leave a recap for one or two more things. We're going to be really quick here. I'm going to give you A, B, or C. What team do you think had a more positive showing Sunday? I'm going to give you three. The San Francisco 49ers, the Dallas Cowboys, or the Green Bay Packers. A, B, or C?
I'm going to have to go with this one is tough, but I think it's really close. I think all three teams impressed, but I'm just going to give the props to the Dallas Cowboys. They just straight up shut out their division rivals and beat them down by 40, and I really think it's just tough to argue with the results, although I think I might owe Brock Purdy an apology because that dude looked much better than I really gave him credit for.
I owe Brock Purdy an apology. I'm going to give it to the San Francisco 49ers. Brock Purdy went through his progressions perfectly. They scored 30 points versus a Pittsburgh defense that has T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick in Pittsburgh. San Fran's 100% my pick here. I can't argue with that. San Fran looked incredible. I thought they were going to lose the football game. They won by 23. Kyle, give us your pick.
I'm going to take Brett's Packers. A lot of people didn't think Jordan Love could play the position. From what I saw, I liked what I saw. So I'll give it to Green Bay.
Okay, bigger disappointment. You ready? Out of these three teams, the Seattle Seahawks losing at home to the Rams and a bunch of six rounders or later. The Philadelphia Eagles for barely beating the Patriots and the way they played offensively and defensively. Or the Washington Commanders for barely beating the lowly Arizona Cardinals in Washington with Joshua Dobbs, a team that's trying to lose. What team was more disappointing?
You know what? I'm going to go with the team that lost. I'm going to go with the Seahawks. They just got absolutely embarrassed. The effort just wasn't there. Nobody looked sharp. They let the Rams, a division rival, this is supposed to be one of those games that you're hyped up and ready to run through a wall for. They let a Rams team without Cooper Kupp and a bunch of late rounders come in and punch him in the mouth and beat him by 3 touchdowns, like over almost 3 scores. So to me, I'm going to go with the Seahawks on this one.
It's fair. They're the only team that lost on the list I gave you. I'm going to go with the Washington Commanders. I think the Arizona Cardinals are absolutely trying to lose football games, and the Commanders could barely beat them. I don't. You know what? It's funny because when I looked at the three teams, I said to myself, what team out of these three teams is season's over already? And it's the Commanders. Their season's over. After watching what they did this past week, I know the Commanders are going to suck. The NFC East will come down to the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, and the Commanders can just go home. Because I don't say that about Seattle, although a very disappointing performance. I don't say that about Philadelphia, even though they lost both coordinators and a very disappointing performance in a win. I say that 100% about the Washington Commanders. Your season's over. You barely beat Arizona, and Arizona's trying to lose.
I agree with you. I'll probably go with Washington because Seattle, I could say, it was Stafford. Stafford had a good game. I can live with that. And the Eagles, I believe in my Patriots, so the Eagles still got the win. I'm not going to really kill them for that. Washington, I thought they were going to kind of handle Arizona because I definitely don't believe in Joshua Dobbs. But I don't know if their season's over yet, but I'm probably leaning a little bit that way as well. This is the game where, no Snyder, you got Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell looked pretty good in the preseason. You're supposed to hit the ground running and stumbled out of the block.
Bro, they look terrible to me. I I was very disappointed. Jahan Dotson and Curtis Samuel were the lone bright spots on the team Sunday, but I'll leave it there. I don't even think the defense looked that good. I was expecting more out of that defensive line, although they had a couple sacks on Josh Dobbs. I don't think they looked that good. But all right, so we got to preview some games. It's 7:18. We're moving right into Thursday Night Football. My Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Minnesota Vikings. I gave a lot of takes on this on Birds Deep. I'll keep it a little bit more refined because we have to go through a whole docket of games. My question would be, who do you like in the game, and how do you see the game going, Kyle?
So I do like the Eagles to win. I think the Vikings cover, though, because I do think what we saw with the Eagles against the Patriots, Mac Jones attacked the middle of the field. I think Kirk Cousins can do the same. That's going to be obviously contingent upon the offensive line keeping Jalen Carter and those guys out of Kirk Cousins' ear. But if he's given time, I could see him finding Hawkinson for like 8, 9 catches over the middle, and because of that, making the game a little bit more interesting. But I do think the Eagles probably win like 27-23.
Okay. Brett, guard a what? Guard a 3?
Oh yeah, I got this game going like pretty similar. I think it's going to be a battle back and forth, but I see Kirk Cousins with a costly turnover in the end. He seems to have a pendant of doing that in games like this. So I think the Eagles win because they pull away on a late field goal. I'm going to go with 30-20, and I think it just stays within a touchdown the entire game. But Kirk Cousins ends up trying to force something, interception, field goal ices the game.
Okay. Well, I have the Philadelphia Eagles winning this game 31-28. I said that on Birds Deep, and I'll say it again here. I think the Eagles are up 31-21. The Vikings score a late touchdown, and they miss the onside kick. The Philadelphia Eagles kneel on the ball, and they win the game. I don't think they're ever in real jeopardy of losing the game in the fourth quarter, but I think there will be some times where you're sitting on the edge of your seat. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have his way with the Eagles across the middle of the field. I think TJ Hawkinson eats for that Vikings offense. I think Justin Jefferson has a much better game than he did last year. Like, you don't think he read the headlines that Darius Slay locked him up? We're talking about the best receiver in the NFL. He's going to have a good game tonight. But I think it's not enough. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will be able to run the football. I think their front seven of Minnesota is very weak. I think the Eagles' offensive line will be able to have their way, pushing them around, and be able to control the chains. And with that being said, it's DeAndre Swift's homecoming. He's a Philadelphia kid. It's his first game as a Philadelphia Eagle. I think the Philadelphia Eagles win this one 31-28. I think Jalen Hurts gets himself a rushing touchdown. Look for Dallas Goedert and Devontae Smith to have a good day. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles pull this one out. We got a lot of games on the docket today. We're getting back to our old style. Pre-game in pigskin, the sideline. We're gonna hit some 1:00 games. We're gonna hit some 4:00 games. We're gonna hit our primetime games. We all have the Eagles winning tonight, though, so that probably means Minnesota will take it in Lincoln Financial Field. I want to start with this one just for fun. Green Bay at Atlanta, 1:00 game, 2 1-0 teams. Brett, you're a Packers fan. I'll let you choose first or last.
I'll go last.
All right, so I'll start. I will. Kyle can be the rose in between two thorns. I got the Packers winning this one. I got them winning it rather comfy. I think Desmond Ridder looked awful, like I said he would. If it wasn't for Bryce Young turning the football over a couple times, I think Carolina wins that football game. Desmond Ridder looked terrible, and I don't think Atlanta is going to be able to run the ball against that stout front seven that Green Bay has. I also think that Jair Alexander is going to take away any type of throwing lanes that Drake London's ever going to have. He had no catches last week. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets blanketed again this week. I like the Packers in this one. I like the Packers big. It's one of my picks this week. Give me the Packers over the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. I think it's comfy.
I agree. I'm with the Packers as well because of the Packers defense, the Falcons aren't going to be able to do what they want to do, which is run, short third downs, throw little quick passes and all that. We're probably gonna see for the first time in this new season, when the game is on Ritter's shoulder, can he deliver? I'm not banking on that. So yeah, I think the Packers win it pretty easily, and yeah, I'm expecting another good performance from Jordan Love. But obviously the key is going to be stopping Bijan and Tyler Algier. Once you do that against Atlanta, then yeah, it's going to be a very comfortable day for you.
Yeah, I think the key to Atlanta winning this game, if they want to have a chance, I think it's going to be to get Kyle Pitts and the running backs matched up against the safeties in the passing game. If the Packers do have one weakness, our safeties are not good. Like, they're really bad. So I think that's their only chance, but that being said, I really don't see it. I think the Packers win this one convincingly too. I think we can pretty much just man them up the entire game and take away all their passing options. We're going to force Desmond Ridder to beat us. We're going to be playing up close and tight, force him to air it out deep, and I just don't think Ridder has what it takes. I think we win this one by 2 touchdowns.
All right. Well, next game on the docket, we got the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 1-0, going against the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Cincinnati Bengals looked absolutely putrid week 1 at Cleveland. Is it an aberration, or is it more to come for the Cincinnati Bengals? Do you think the Cincinnati Bengals bounce back? Joe Burrow threw for less than 100 yards. Jamar Chase was almost non-existent. T. Higgins was non-existent with 0 catches. You got the Bengals at home. Joe Burrow always has great games versus the Baltimore Ravens. He threw for 500 against them one time. I'll start with this one. I'm taking the Bengals to bounce back and win this one. I think it'll be a high-scoring game, too. I think it's going to be 38-28 Bengals.
I think so part of me thinks that the Bengals do win, Ravens cover, so I'm thinking of like a field goal type game, because I think what we're starting to notice is the Bengals kind of start the season slow, but I'm also not expecting them to look like they did last week. And with the Ravens, I need to see more from this passing game that we've been kind of told was supposed to be some unstoppable force, because last week against Houston, that ain't it. If they play like that against Cincinnati, then they're going to get blown out.
Where you got, Brett?
Yeah, I think the Bengals bounce back. I think you're looking at a game where they always seem – Joe Burrow just seems to play really, really well against the Ravens. And now you're coming home. He's probably going to be very upset with his performance from last week, I'd imagine. So you're going to get an angry, completely motivated Bengals team. And I think they bounce back in a major way. I think it's going to be close. I don't think they blow the Ravens out. I think this game stays within a touchdown, but I do have the Bengals, and I think their offense looks almost like they did last year at times when they looked unstoppable on Sunday.
I'm going to take it a step forward when I say this, right? I actually think there was more concerns watching the Baltimore Ravens than I do thinking there's concerns with the Bengals. I think the Bengals had a bad football game. I think the Baltimore Ravens and that Todd Monken system we heard so much about space and space looked terrible. Baltimore Ravens looked awful. And like you want to – C.J. Stroud was terrible in that game, and the Houston Texans offense was anemic. And the Baltimore Ravens still couldn't pull away. Lamar Jackson looked awful. Just an opinion. I think the Bengals bounce back with a win this week. How about this one? Everyone's darling sweetheart, Detroit Lions, are hosting the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, do they get a bounce back game? I think they do. Upset special. I'm taking Geno Smith. They wrote me off, and I didn't write back. Give me the Seahawks to win this game outright. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to get locked down by that Seattle Seahawks secondary. I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to run the football, and I think they'll be able to throw the ball against that Detroit Lions secondary, which I think is their weak spot of their defense. I think the Seahawks win this one. I like the Seahawks in this one big.
I mean, this was one of my picks from Big Three, and I did pick the Seahawks as my upset pick. So I agree. I mean, I liked the fact that the Seahawks, I believe they kind of stopped the run last week. That was my biggest question about their defense coming into the year. We know that the Lions want to run the ball. So the Seahawks kind of repeat that performance. I like Seahawks. I like their corners. So I think in the passing game, they'll be able to handle that. But yeah, I'm at the point where I'm a big Geno Smith guy right now. I love.
They wrote me off. I didn't write back.
And I love that quote, and because of that, I feel like he bounces back for sure. So I would take the Seahawks as well.
I think Pete Carroll's a better coach too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the matchup to watch for that game is going to be Tariq Woolen versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that's going to be a really fun matchup to watch on the outside. That being said, I think the Seahawks have the right ingredients to knock off the Lions. I think they have enough to stop the run. I think they're going to force the Lions to look to the number 2 and 3 options. So I like the upset, and I'll roll with it too. I'll take the Seahawks on Sunday.
I'll tell you right now, I think Devin Witherspoon is the best cornerback in this draft, and I think Devin Witherspoon will have a hand in how they play Sunday. I also think that Jamal Adams coming back for Seattle will help them out defensively. I think whatever Seattle does right, Detroit doesn't do well. And I think Detroit winning at Kansas City was a little bit of fool's gold. They should have lost that game multiple times. Travis Kelce is playing that game. They lose that game by 14 points. Kadarius Toney was awful, dropping 2 huge first downs, including the one that would have been the game winner. Mm-hmm. So I think that Detroit winning is a little bit of fool's gold. And I really like Seattle in the upset this week. Give me Seattle money line.
I need to see more out of that Detroit offense. Like that was the biggest concern with me on in that KC game. That was just brutal at times. They could not move the ball down the field at all against a defense that didn't have Chris Jones. Like, don't get me wrong, the Chiefs played their heart out. So I'm not taking anything away from them, but to me, the Lions absolutely should have done more on offense in that game, and the fact that they're only able to muster up 14 is pretty concerning to me.
Completely.
Are they going to play Gibbs more?
Yeah, I think they do. I think that the home opener for Detroit, they definitely play Gibbs more. I don't think it matters though. I think it'll be a high scoring game. I actually think there's a couple really high scoring games this week. I think this is one of them. Baltimore, Cincinnati, Seattle, Detroit. I think they're both high. I think Buffalo, Las Vegas, which we're not going to talk about because Buffalo's going to kill them. I don't want to talk about Josh Allen and his turnover problem. He's been talked about enough. He's terrible. I think he bounces back this week, and I think that we have a different conversation next week. But I think Seattle gives them everything they can handle. I think this is a very high-scoring game. I want to talk about the highest-scoring game of last week. The Los Angeles Chargers hosted Miami Dolphins. Well, the Chargers this week have to go play at Tennessee, and Tennessee's defense looks very good. Ryan Tannehill, not so much. Sorry, Jory, don't beat me up. But I like the Chargers to go into Tennessee and win this football game. I think Herbert gets it done. I think that I don't know if Eckler plays. I don't think Eckler is going to play this week. I think they're going to have to do it through the air. The Tennessee Titans defense will slow them down. I like the under in this game, but I think the Chargers offense is too much. to handle, and I don't think that the Titans' offense is good enough to be able to score. I'm picking the Chargers.
I yeah, I mean I do agree, but I will say Tennessee's going to make it tough on the Chargers because I do agree with you. I like what I saw from their defense. I think the offense is still trying to figure itself out. I think after a couple of weeks they may look a little better. I mean, if they can get like Henry going, then maybe I'll feel a little bit differently. But I think I'd probably have to give it to the Chargers in this one.
I think this one's going to be really interesting because historically speaking, in these last couple of years, the Chargers have always had a weaker run defense. They've had more athletic tackles that aren't necessarily great in the run, but are great against a pass. So I think this will be just the matchup to watch is just going to be the most obvious one. How do the Chargers slow down Derrick Henry? I think there's a real possibility that Derrick Henry keeps that offense off the field long enough for the Titans to win. I think this is going to be a low-scoring slugfest, but at the same time, I think I have to ask myself, if the ball gets put into Ryan Tannehill's hand to win this game, can he do it? He showed nothing in week one that inspired me to show that he can. So I'm going to go Chargers as well.
Okay. Let's talk about the 1 o'clock game of the week. This is 100% the game of the week at 1 o'clock. Could possibly be the game of the week for the entire week. The Kansas City Chiefs, the 0-1 Kansas City Chiefs, the best quarterback in all of football, Patrick Mahomes, the defending Super Bowl champions, are going in to play the Prince. The Prince, yes, I call him the Prince, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence looked great versus Indy. That Indy defense looked really good. The one interception Trevor Lawrence had was off Calvin Ridley's hands. The only bad play I seen him make in the entire game was the fumble, which he was trying to make a play and he ended up getting hit. And that's on him. He can't hold the ball that long, and that's one of his biggest problems with Trevor Lawrence. But you got the Jaguars playing the Chiefs. It's funny. When I first looked at this game and I picked it on wire to wire, I picked the Chiefs to win the football game. And then I did a little bit more of a deep dive. It's definitely not one of my picks. I'm kind of flip-flopping. I'm being a little bit weird here. But I still think there's a little growing pains with the Kansas City Chiefs. And what better storyline would it be for the NFL as if the Chiefs started the season 0-2? And that's what I'm picking. I'm picking Doug Peterson to have the Jacksonville Jaguars ready and to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Jaguars. Give me the Prince 31-30 over Patrick Mahomes.
I've gone back and forth with this game because I could see a scenario where the Jaguars win it. I'm picking Kansas City, though. I just think they'll bounce back from the opening night loss. They probably feel like they should have won that game. And if you watch it, you probably agree with that. And I think they're going to really want to make a statement against Jacksonville because I do think a lot of people probably will pick Jacksonville in this one. I do want to see can Kadarius Toney make a catch. Andy Reid said they're going to continue to go to him. They're going to whatever. But if Mahomes is in a situation where he needs to make a play, will he even look Toney's direction? That's what I want to see. I think it's a close game as well. I'll go 34-30 Chiefs. But I think the Jaguars will look good because I do like what I'm seeing from them.
I think this Chiefs season is almost going to be really similar to the Aaron Rodgers RELAX season. I think they're going to get off to a rough start and then they're going to go on a mid to late season tear. This game, I looked at it and I got the Jags. I didn't give it a second thought. I'm not counting out Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs could still very well win this football game. But I just think when you comparing the offenses, like obviously the Chiefs had a quarterback advantage, but I just think look everywhere else. Jacksonville just kind of blows them out of the water anywhere that's not the tight end if Travis Kelce plays. And the defenses are very similar. I think this does end up being a closer game, but I have the Jags in this one.
Well, the 4 o'clock slot leaves much to be desired. A bunch of really bad football games. San Francisco at the Rams. I think the 49ers win that one rather easily. I don't want to talk about that one. The one game, there's two games where there's two 1-0 teams, San Francisco at the Rams, but the Jets at the Cowboys. Cowboys are 8.5-point favorites in this one. I kind of want to state this, and I might sound crazy. It might be nuts. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the Jets money line. I am going to sprinkle a little on the Jets money line. Let me tell you why. I think the Jets are going to go into that football game knowing they can't turn the football over. I think they're going to play super conservative offensively, and I think that defense matches up perfectly with the Dallas Cowboys offense. I think it's a low-scoring game. I think it's ugly. 1916 Jets winning on a walk-off field goal.
So you have the Jets winning. Okay.
I like them apples. Give me the Jets outright. The hard knock life.
Hey, if it happens, that would be a pretty good story. I mean, my bold prediction is just going to be like the Jets covering because I don't even know if a lot of people are picking that. But I do agree with you. I think the defense will be able to handle Dallas. The question is going to be offensively, can Zach Wilson make plays when needed against that Dallas defense? He has to stay away from turnovers, of course. I'm not expecting him to do, the Josh Allen, just throw it down the field randomly. Although he has done that before. But I do think he probably has learned from that. Yeah, the key is going to be ball control, Cook and Brees Hall. Using those two. I was thinking like 17-13 Cowboys. But yeah, definitely a low scoring game.
If you take Zach Wilson and Dak Prescott off the teams, and you compare these two rosters, coaches included, the Jets would be a 4-point favorite in this game.
I can agree with that.
They're better at the running back position. They're better in the receiver room. They're better at as a whole in the secondary. Their defensive line is right on board with Dallas's. With Micah Parsons being the X factor, but Quentin Williams is incredible. I think the Jets really shocked the world Sunday. I think this will be a game that gets a lot of people eliminated in Survivor.
I'll say I like it. I have the Jets in a close game. I still have Dallas winning, but I do think the Jets put up a lot more of a fight than a lot of people think. I think this is going to be less than a touchdown. That Jets defense is no joke, and I think they have two running backs that can control the clock the entire game against the Cowboys to keep it close. I don't trust Zach Wilson to make enough plays when it matters the most. I do think Garrett Wilson is going to come up with some sensational plays. I just don't think there's going to be enough of them.
Are you saying no yak Zach? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so I want to bring this game up just because I have a conversation piece that I want to go with it. The Washington Commanders are playing at Denver, and I want to just say this out loud. And this is not a game I really want us to go over that much. I really don't, because it's a worthless game to begin with. But the Denver Broncos minus 3.5 is the last time I will ever bet the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson if they do not cover the spread versus the Commanders. I am so sick of Broncos country. Let's ride. This will be their last opportunity for Sean Payton, Russell Wilson, and company to get a win at home versus a lowly Commanders team. They have a very good defense in Denver. I can't see Denver losing this football game. So I want to say that I think that the Denver Broncos minus 3.5 are the easiest pick of the week. I think Jerry Jeudy's trending to play. I think the Broncos should win this one and rather easily. However, if the Commanders win this football game or even cover, I am absolutely done with Russell Wilson. Thoughts?
No, I agree. I think your big flaw with the Commanders is they have a menacing defensive line, but at times they can be undisciplined. They're going to pine their ears back and go after the quarterback, but at the same time, you can use that aggressiveness against them. Get the ball out quick. Throw a couple screens right behind the pressure. So I think they should be able to very easily generate offense against this team. I think they should be able to win this one rather easily. I think a bad performance, and we definitely need to start questioning if Russell Wilson just has it anymore.
Well, I kind of wanted to leave some time because we have 3 primetime games, Sunday night and Monday night. First one we want to get into I see Seigen's got it. I'm going with the Broncos, but if they don't win, Broncos country, last ride. I love that, man. Great, great, great comment. All right, so Kyle's New England Patriots are playing at home again on Sunday Night Football versus the Cheetah versus the Tua versus the Duck that waddles. Miami Dolphins. Could this be an 0-2 start for the Patriots? Do the Dolphins have enough to go across the country, play out the Chargers, come all the way back to Miami to practice, fly all the way up to New England for week 2? I'll go third on this one. Brett, what do you got in this one?
I think that unless the Dolphins suffer from jet lag, I think that the Dolphins win it. I just think that this is going to be too explosive for the Patriots to handle. I do think that the Patriots are going to put up a fight. I'm not counting out Bill Belichick. I think they'll game plan for him. I think they'll throw out a very good game plan. They'll keep this game closer than a lot of people imagine. But I just think that this offense is just going to be too explosive and too much for the Patriots. So I got the Dolphins.
Leave that comment up there real quick. That Jory comment. I just want to comment on that real quick. Jory, I swear to God, every comment you make is if you own the team. She goes, I have a solid defense. You don't own the Titans, Jory. I know they're your team. It's not your defense. I'm just kidding. We talked about that game earlier. I think the Chargers win that one. I think their defense is very good. I just don't think your quarterback is. But I'm sorry. Don't beat me up. I said it again. Kyle, Patriots, Dolphins. Are you going to go full homer here, or are you picking the Dolphins?
I'm going homer. I just like defensively what the Patriots can do. I think we're going to see a lot of that disguising the defense that they did against the Eagles, where they would show man and then switch up into like a matchup zone to kind of cut a lot of the underneath stuff. I think we're going to see the bracket coverage that they like to use on Tyreek Hill, because I think like Bill Belichick's philosophy is do not give up the big play with Tyreek Hill. If you force him to catch underneath and then have to whatever, then maybe you can at least keep him out of the end zone. Waddle, kind of the same thing. Force the Dolphins to go on long, like methodical drives and hope that Tua doesn't make any mistakes. So yeah, I'm going full homer. I think the Patriots find a way to do it. And I think offensively, what I saw in the second part of the Eagles game, where Mac Jones was like spreading it out and was finding wide open receivers, I think we see more of that. I don't think Fangio's has really gotten that Dolphins defense to its full potential yet. Because I will say, and I've said it before, the Dolphins are the team that scare me the most in the AFC East. So as good as they are offensively, I think they will get better defensively as the season goes on. But I think the Patriots get it done Sunday night.
I got news for you. Kyle, I got news for you. Sunday night, you're going to be a very, very happy man, because I got the New England Patriots upsetting the Miami Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. And let me tell you how they're going to do it. I want a graphic. I need someone that's a graphic designer to make this. And it's going to be Two-Face. Like Two-Face, like Harvey Two-Face, and you got two faces to him. The face that you've seen versus the Chargers and the face that you're going to see Sunday Night Football, because I think the Patriots turn him over. I think they hit him, and they hit him early, and I think they hit him often. I think the Miami Dolphins offense struggles this game. If you have a Miami Dolphin on your fantasy team, sit them on the bench. I'm telling you right now, that Patriots defense, that defensive front seven, that cornerback room. Hey, listen, if you didn't believe in Christian Gonzalez going into the draft, after watching week 1, you better believe in him now. The guy looks great. I think the Patriots defense handles it. I think that Bill O'Brien led offense with the New England Patriots and Mac Jones looked light years better than it looked at any point last year. I got the Patriots in this one, and the Miami Dolphins can't stop the run. I think Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott run wild. It's not like the Philadelphia front seven where you have Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis just plug in the middle. I think this New England offensive line controls the football game. I think the Patriots win this one on Sunday Night Football. I got the Patriots in this one, and I'm very confident in it. Tried setting you up there, Kyle. Did you think I was going to tell you you're going to weep?
No. Look, I understand that It's gonna be a tough matchup, but I like you said, that front seven really impressed me. Keon White, love him, love that pick even more. And I do agree with you. I think we see a better Ramondre Stevenson and Zeke Elliott performance.
Tua face. I need that. The Harvey Tua face. You're going to see the second side of him. Just cut it right down the middle. All right. So Monday Night Football, they're doing this stupid 2 games on, and these 2 games are at the same time. One starts at 7:15, the other one starts at 8:15. What are we doing, ESPN? Please stop it. ABC has one of them, ESPN has the other one. It's so bad. You get New Orleans at Carolina on Monday Night Football. Bryce Young's home opener. Guys, I think the Carolina Panthers win this football game. I don't know why. I don't know how. I don't know where it comes from. I think that Frank Wright's a better coach than Dennis Allen. I think Carolina always gives New Orleans trouble in Carolina. You can look it up. The stats will back up what I'm telling you. I don't believe in the New Orleans Saints offense. I think they have a terrible offense coordinator. They looked awful last week. They had 3 turnovers versus Tennessee and still only managed to score 17 points. I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers in a sneaky, weird upset. I'm picking a lot of upsets this week, by the way. But I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers in a sneaky, weird upset this week. And I don't know why, right? Like, this is never a game I would lay $1 on. Maybe the under. I think this game is going to be nasty, ugly, disgusting, bad football. But give me the Carolina Panthers, kind of.
I'll go with the Saints. I think the Saints win this one. I watched the Carolina Falcons game. Carolina's offense was brutal to watch.
They were.
Obviously, Bryce Young will get better as he gets more accustomed, but right now it's tough. Their passing game is non-existent. The Saints, look, they didn't look that much more impressive against the Titans team, but like we said, the Titans defense is pretty good. Carolina's is decent. So I think it's probably going to be another close game, but I'll give it to the Saints only because I'll say Derek Carr over Bryce Young right now. That's got to be the difference in this matchup. Especially for Dennis Allen, the Saints need to win this one.
Brett?
I think that if you're a big fan of offense, you are going to weep. This is not going to be fun for you. If you're a fan of a defensive battle, then this is going to be your game. I got this.
I got a question for you.
Huh.
If you combine the two games on Monday Night Football's total points, do you think one game will outdo both games combined? Because the next game on the docket is just as bad offensively. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Yuck City. Cleveland's playing at Pittsburgh. I got another weird prediction for this one, but we'll get into that. Brett, start us off.
Man, the Steelers gave me absolutely no reason to be confident in them. But that being said, I do think they bounce back. I do think they look better. I got the Browns in this one, though, and I think the difference maker is I don't trust in Matt Canada's play calling. I don't think he'll put his players in positions to succeed. So I do think that they have a lot of, talent. I think Pickens is very talented. Pickett's very talented. I just don't trust the OC. So I'm going to go with the Browns on this one.
I have the Browns winning this game 15-12 in a game where no touchdowns are scored the entire game. 5 field goals versus 4. I think both offenses are going to look anemic at best. I think Deshaun Watson still does not look like Deshaun Watson. I thought that the whole offseason would allow him to look better. Adding a weapon with Elijah Moore, it just didn't work. I think the Cleveland Browns offense looked anemic. Their defense was incredible. The Pittsburgh Steelers, you got George Pickens already throwing temper tantrums. There's no Deontay Johnson. I think both offenses look terrible. I think you're going to see a lot of running the football between 4 running backs, Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, Nick Chubb, and Deshaun Watson. There's a joke about the Deshaun Watson part, but I think you're going to see a lot of ugly, ugly football in this game. I'll go 15-12 Browns.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think it's going to be low scoring. I mean, we'll probably hear the announcers talking about this is AFC North football, which, I'm
Black and blue division.
Yeah, you're gonna hear that a lot. You know, will be a good opportunity to have the little multi-view on YouTube TV, and then just be like, which one do I really want to pay attention to? I do think the Browns win. I mean, I've been talking about the Browns for a while. I gotta stick with it. Uh, Also, you also didn't mention with the Steelers. I think Fryermuth is dealing with an injury as well.
Oh,
So it's just like I don't even know who's really going to be out there for Pickett to throw to.
if
I think
Fryermuth doesn't play, I want to give you a name I want you to look out for
okay.
because I watched him in college, and the kid is he's a freak of nature. Darnell Washington, he's a rookie tight end. He runs like a 4.49 or 4.5. He's 6'7", 264 pounds. He got drafted at the end of the second round or early third. Look out for him. He's a huge target. I think he's a next generational tight end. I think he's just a little unpolished right now, which is why he's not playing. But I'm telling you right now, I think this kid, Darnell Washington, you have any like dynasty leagues and you can pick him up, stash him. I think Darnell Washington this is going to sound absolutely nuts, but I think he has the ability to be a top 5 tight end of all time. 6'7", 264, and runs like a deer. Guy's going to be really good. Just started playing football like 5 years ago.
I would say definitely has the size, frame, and athleticism. He has all the intangibles for it. So see if he builds on that potential.
I'm going to also make another bold prediction. Last bold prediction of the night. I think the Buffalo Bills score more touchdowns than the 4 games on Monday Night Football. Four teams on Monday Night Football combined. I really think that happens.
I think the worst part is that doesn't even feel bold to me. I'm looking at these 4 teams, and I'm questioning if they're going to like combine to score over 50 points between 4 teams. So
I know, and that's exactly what is ESPN thinking with these games on Monday Night Football, and to layer them the 7:15, 8:15 slot. Like, what are we doing? They didn't go East Coast, West Coast on this one. I can't even watch them back to back. You can't even give me a good football game. What are we doing, ESPN?
I keep thinking it's some way to kind of phase out Thursday night for some reason. Keep testing this 2 Monday night game thing.
Yeah, but it never works. The ratings are always terrible, and then ESPN's B Squad is always awful. Who's on the ESPN B Squad this week? Hold on, ESPN commentators Monday Night Football.
I'm sure it's going to be an interesting group they're going to put together.
Yeah, it'll be Berman and Levy and Booger. I guarantee they have some stupid ass. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see what they end up doing on Monday Night Football with these 2 games. I got it right here. You got Troy Aikman, Joe Buck, Lisa Salters, and John Perry as the official announcers for 2023. Keith Jackson, Howard Cosell, Don Meredith, the trio called the 70s. Where are they? I'm trying to think who's going to call what games. It doesn't say. I mean, I don't mind the A list. The B list is going to be terrible.
Apparently, they're not even relevant enough to put on the page.
I'll put it to you this way. I watched the Manning cast. I don't even watch Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. How did they sound the first week? I just watched the Mannings. I think they're way better at calling a game. I feel like I'm watching a game with my friends. Thoughts, gentlemen?
I was say they don't sound very good to me. So, like when I watch Monday Night Football, I either prefer the Manning cast or I'll just kind of mute the game, watch it, and put on some other form of commentary.
It's embarrassing how bad it is. I watch this stuff and I'm like, why can't I get a job doing this? Because I'd be way better than this. Like, my energy would be there. We got Chris Berman trotting out there for his 75th year. I love Boomer. I loved him in 1997. He was my favorite guy to listen to when I was growing up. Like, what are we doing? Booger McFarland? Why? Because he played football? He's a joke. Tell me how bad Booger McFarland is at calling football.
Oh, dude, I'm just happy they took away Booger's crane. That was the worst experiment I've ever seen, just watching him, like, float around the stadium on his little hoverboard there.
So bad. All right, well, gentlemen, the Philadelphia Eagles are playing on Thursday Night Football, so we're going to wrap up about 15 minutes early so I can get situated with the pregame. I'm going to pregame myself. Guys, any final comments on sideline to sideline week number 2? It's show 5, but this is week 2.
Yeah, all I want to say.
Lost. I don't know what's going on with Kyle's audio. He's frozen. He's chopping around. I can't hear anything. I feel bad for him. He's in low resolution preview. I'm kidding.
All I want to say is I'm just hoping that my Packers, they build on week 1. I thought they did a lot of things good. I do think one player that has to play better, though, Josh Myers. A.J. Dillon was getting blown up in the backfield a lot, and the big reason to that is Josh Myers is missing a lot of blocks. So I do want to see him play better, but overall, I'm just looking forward to watching Green Bay and hope they're able to build on their week 1 win.
Now, maybe it was me, and maybe I'm just like that guy, but like I loved because I know his family, but I rooted for and I watched a ton of Lucas Patrick when he was on the Green Bay Packers. Like, why has he not been an NFL offensive lineman? He never looked bad when he played for the Packers, and now that you have Josh Myers playing center for you guys. Like, wouldn't you guys have been better with Lucas Patrick there? He didn't get paid a lot. He's a swing offensive lineman. Why? Like, what was the reason?
I just think that we're looking at a situation where the coaching staff believed that they had something with Myers, and I think they just overvalued him. They were willing to let Lucas Patrick walk, and I think that was just a huge mistake in that regard. I think we had a phenomenal offseason, but I do think one of the mistakes was picking Josh Myers over Lucas Patrick. I really do.
Okay. Well, Kyle, I know you're in the metaverse right now, as Saigon said. I can hear you now. Go ahead. Any final thoughts?
No, just another great show, and I cannot wait for the action tonight.
All right, let's go Eagles. Go Birds. I'm Gene Walzak. That's Kyle Edwards. And we're hanging with Guardy, not the 2. He's guarding the 3. Guardy 3. And we are signing out.